behind closed doors like Eddie Murphy, who knows me very well. You know? How well? Very well. You know? And what hurts me about him is, if anyone was after this meeting, and it will be filmed, they asked me.
I love my wife, and I'm not gay, and I'm not, you know, and that's what's weird about this, to have your sexuality question and your moral fiber question and all that, when all I was doing was trying to be nice to somebody.
What happened? I still don't really know what happened. I'm dealing with a father who won't do a DNA test, who won't sign the birth certificate, so now I have to go through lawyers, and I just think it's...
And I saw Eddie Murphy and Johnny Gill tongue kissing.
Things are getting really nasty in the Murphy household after Mel B went off on Eddie for hiding the truth about having a secret trans lover. This comes after Eddie repeatedly disowned his kid with Mel because he came out as trans. So let me get this straight. Eddie feels he is allowed to mess around with trans people, but once his kid also comes out as trans, he has a problem? Mind you, this isn't Eddie's first time being involved in something like it. No wonder none of his relationships with women have lasted. From what the streets are saying, he might actually want something else. Now, before we get into all the nitty-gritty of what Mel said about Eddie, let me give you a little bit of context on this mess, because it has a lot to do with why he is the way he is today. Okay, so it went down in 1997 when Eddie was caught with a 20-year-old trans woman, later identified as Addison Seiuli, in his car. It's unclear if the officer leaked this info to the press, or if he told someone else who then leaked it to the press. But either way, they got their hands on it, and wasted no time putting it out. And remember, this was the 90s. So a man who claims to be straight, driving around with a trans woman in his car at 4 a.m. was a big deal. And Eddie wasn't just any man. He was a popular black Hollywood actor with a wife and kids. He had no business being in a situation like this in the first place. He denied any romantic involvement with Addison, claiming that he saw her stranded and decided to help by giving her a ride.
I'm not gay, and I'm not, you know, and that's what's weird about this, to have your sexuality question and your moral fiber question and all that, when all I was doing was trying to be nice to somebody.
Eddie Murphy tells ET that his wife and children were out of town, says he wanted something to read and went to a late-night newsstand. He stopped here and picked up the suspected transsexual at 4:45 in the morning. He says he thought he was aiding a distraught woman.
Looks like a pretty Hawaiian girl in the corner crying. It looks like she was crying. She goes, oh, Eddie Murphy. She noticed him at the light. She recognized Eddie Murphy. Oh, my God. So I go, what are you doing? Why are you out here working the streets so late? She goes, oh, I'm on my way home. Can you give me a ride home?
Police tailed them for 2 miles before pulling him over. Police say he is guilty of no misconduct, but there was a warrant out for the alleged prostitute. A judge has ordered that man, 20-year-old Addison Seiuli, to serve 90 days in jail. Murphy says he has often stopped to try to help prostitutes, but here is what he said in an impromptu news conference on the set of his new movie.
Being a good Samaritan blew up in my face, basically, what happened. And I'm never giving anyone a lift again.
Girl, absolutely no one believed a word that was coming out of his mouth. And it doesn't help that just days after this fiasco, Addison was found dead. According to reports, she was found dead on a sidewalk wearing only lingerie outside her apartment building. She had apparently locked herself out of her 5th-floor apartment and tried swinging from the roof to her window using a towel, and missed. But here's the thing though, it turns out that right before she died, the National Enquirer had already gotten to her for an exclusive story, and she revealed some really interesting things. Apparently, she had been arrested, and they paid her $15,000 bail in exchange for an exclusive about what really happened between her and Eddie. They published a messy article with the headline, Eddie Murphy's Secret Life. And just from this headline alone, you already know they were coming for Eddie bad. So according to Addison, Eddie didn't tell the whole story about what happened. She claims that she was never stranded. Apparently, she is a night worker, so she was by the road as she does every night, looking for men to take her home. Eddie pulled up and allegedly asked her to get in, so he took her home to do the you-know-what. And of course she did. He then placed $200 bills on her leg and asked if she liked to wear lingerie, to which she said, yes. Eddie then asked, can I see you in lingerie? She said, I told him, whenever I have the time. He said, I'll make the time. And when she asked him what kind of action he liked, he replied, everything. Eddie ended up suing the National Enquirer for this article, but it honestly only made things worse. Eddie's ex-wife, Nicole, also later filed for divorce against him, citing irreconcilable differences, and she walked away with a major settlement. She got over $15 million, and at the time, this was one of the biggest divorce payouts in Hollywood history. Word on the street is that the reason he gave her that much money was that she had all the dirt on his supposed down-low relationships. Apparently, that $15 million wasn't just a settlement, it was hush money. Nicole was supposedly willing to stay with him after the whole situation with Addison, but after she turned up dead and people started blaming him, she was done. Now, after this, Eddie didn't get himself involved in any more relationships, at least not any that the public was aware of. That was until 2006, when he got with Mel B after meeting her at a party. Judging from Mel's recollection of events, it was pretty much love at first sight for her. Their relationship moved very fast. They got matching tattoos, moved in together, and even decided to have their son Angel, all within just months of knowing each other. But by the time she was 6 months pregnant, they broke up, and things got very messy. Mel moved back to the UK, hoping that Eddie would chase after her to resolve things. But then again, this is an alleged DL man, so the very last thing he'll do is chase after a woman. Let's be for real. In fact, not only did he not chase her, he humiliated her by publicly denying being the father of the baby she was carrying. I don't know whose child that is until it comes out and has a test. But Mel didn't take this lying down. Mel had a DNA test done that proved that he was in fact the father, and then dragged his bald tail to court for child support. She got sole custody of Angel, and he was ordered to pay $50,000 in child support every month. Oh, honey, I know he was heated when he heard that.
Yes, we can do Eddie Murphy. He had gotten Melanie Brown pregnant, and he denied that he had gotten her pregnant, right?
That's the way to go.
Melanie Brown is Scary Spice from the Spice Girls.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so after she had a DNA test done, it proved that the baby is definitely Eddie Murphy's, and now he has to pay child support, right? Guess how much he's going to be paying Miss Brown every month?
Oh man, this is gonna hurt.
$50,000 per month.
Now, it's important to keep in mind that this was years ago, and since then, Eddie and Mel have resolved their issues. At least, that's what we thought, till his son Angel, who was born as a girl, came out as trans last year. Even though Eddie's team put out a statement claiming that he is in support of Angel's new life, and her even being in a whole relationship, word on the street is that Eddie is, in fact, not in support, and he apparently blames himself for Angel turning trans. Supposedly, he feels as if he were more present in Angel's life. Maybe she wouldn't have become trans. Now, I don't know what it is about certain people thinking that the presence of dads in children's life determines whether or not they'll become one of the alphabets in the LGBTQ+ community, but sorry to break it to you, it doesn't. Some people had both parents present and still turned out gay or trans. Others also didn't have their dads, and they are straight. It's just what it is. It has nothing to do with the dad being present or not. I need y'all to stop with this silliness. Anyway, a lot of people dragged Eddie for this, claiming that he has a lot of audacity to be against Angel being trans when he allegedly messes with trans people himself. In fact, those DL allegations didn't stop with Addison. Rest in peace to her. Even after he and Mel broke up, several gay men and trans women have come out alleging that they either did something with him or saw him doing something with one of their folks at one of those Hollywood parties. You know the ones I'm talking about. For example, a male named Flash revealed in an interview with Armin Wiggins that he saw Eddie and Johnny Gill French kissing at a party in Hollywood. He said Eddie and Johnny had their tongues in each other's mouths, and everyone at the party just kept doing their thing like nothing was happening. Apparently, it's common knowledge within Hollywood that Eddie gets down like that, so nobody was really shocked.
The first party that I went to in Hollywood, it was after I did Coach Carter, and I saw Eddie Murphy and Johnny Gill tongue kissing.
Oh.
And this is like out in public, so a lot of the things that y'all think, they like, and they were going at it like for real, like swallowing tongues. So
Eddie never responded to this allegation, but Johnny did. And listen, he wasn't having any of it. He denied everything and called Flash a broke clout chaser who's just saying exactly what he knows will get people's attention. He even went as far as threatening to sue him if he didn't come back and take back the claims he made. He said, "Ninja's been carrying that old tale stupid rumor for years. It's another thing to lie on me to say you saw me do something that I ain't ever did to no man." Right after this drama, another trans insider in the industry came forward and accused Eddie of supposedly being intimate with a bunch of trans women and gay men. And allegedly, some of these encounters happened right when he got Mel pregnant.
Behind closed doors like Eddie Murphy, who knows me very well. You know? How well? Very well. You know? And what hurts me about him is, if anyone was, after this meeting, and it will be filmed, they asked me, what do you know about Eddie Murphy? I'm not interested in destroying his life. I'm more interested in destroying his wife's life.
Now, let me just remind you all that these are just allegations that folks are making against Eddie, so you need to take them with a grain of salt. As usual, people had their thoughts, like this person who said, randomly learned that Eddie Murphy offed a trans woman. So are we gonna talk about that, or, 'cause WTF? I grew up watching that man. Once I was an adult, I knew he must have been misogynoir and probably homophobic, but offing a trans woman? Another person said, a lot of people don't know Eddie Murphy used to ride around picking up trans women of the night, and he would drug them, sometimes mistreat them, and sometimes SA them, allegedly. But now I want to know your thoughts. What do you think of Eddie Murphy getting exposed by Mel B? And do you think his alleged internalized homophobia is the reason for not accepting his trans daughter? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and don't forget to click here to watch this other messy video.